college soccer guy, how do I deal with when coaches respond to me? Sometimes I don't know what to say. Sometimes I do know what to say. I just don't know how to respond sometimes to college coaches. What should I do? I'm the college soccer guy, and I help you play college soccer. Let's get into it. So you've gotten some responses, right? That means you've probably sent some mass emails, or you've sent some emails at the very least. Maybe you're using a platform like NCSA or Sports Recruits. I used all of those. I didn't like any of them. They did not help me play college soccer. But regardless, you've gotten some level of response, which is very exciting. That's what we want you to get when you're on this college soccer journey. So there's a couple different types of responses you could have received, and I want to break down each and every one of them. So the first type of response you for sure have received is the robotic message. Thank you so much for your email, Johnny. We would like to invite you to our ID camp. It's on July 23rd to the 26th. Hope to see you there. That's like what we call a generic response. That means you've sent them an email, they've given you back a robot, and they've invited you to camp. These are not necessarily bad ID camps emails, because if you wanted to go to that school, which is probably why you emailed them, it can be difficult to find out when their ID camps are throughout the year, unless you're constantly going on their website. So now they've emailed you when their ID camp is. So don't get too upset that it's a robot and that they're just trying to take your money. First of all, college coaches do need college ID camps to make a living. So that is a part of it, yes. But it doesn't mean they do or don't like you yet at this stage. All they're saying right now is, look, if you really want us to recruit you, you're going to have to probably come to our ID camp. Now, you may say, well, I don't want to spend the money in the dough, and we'll get into whether or not you should, but for the time being, you've gotten yourself a response. So here's what I want you to do. If you have the College Soccer Guy program, and if you don't, you can use your own method, but the program is, of course, like really efficient at this, which is working with me, you're going to go down to Chapter 6 of the ID Camp Months section of the document that you will receive if you're in the College Soccer Guy program, and you are going to make a note of this date of the camp. And then next to it, you're going to write the word generic. Now, the reason this is so key is you're about to get a ton of invitations if you do this properly. And some of them are going to be genuine and some of them are going to be generic. And you're not going to know which one to pick, and you're not going to remember which one was genuine, which one was generic. So what you're going to do is you're going to make this note in your College Soccer Guy program. And then eventually we're going to have 10 to 20 schools. And then we're going to decide based off of what were more genuine, what was more generic, what's our favorite school, which ID camps we could go to based off your schedule. So that's why you're going to write the date of the ID camp they sent you, and you're going to write which school, and you're going to write whether it was genuine or generic. So for this example, we're talking about the generic email. Now, after you've received that email, you're going to have already, and you should have done this already because this is in a different video, you're going to have organized your Gmail account. So you will have made a folder with that school's name in it, so that way you'll remember it. This is partially why, to be honest, why I don't like NCSA and Sports Recruits. They have a platform to try and help you stay organized, but you can't really take notes in it. It's not going to be nuanced like this. They claim their platforms are just going to get you recruited. And I'm not saying there aren't coaches out there that don't just look at the platform. So sure, start a free platform. That's fine. I had a free version. That's not going to hurt you by any means. But it really makes it difficult to stay organized, and college coaches do not like any of those companies. They like getting a genuine message from you. So, in saying that, that is the generic message you've just received. Now that you've gotten that generic message, the next type of message you may receive is what we call the genuine message to a college ID camp. Now, this is the money one. We love these. These are like one of the best types of emails. Think about if each genuine email is a type of money, like Monopoly. This is like a $30 bill or a $50 bill. This is a good one. We like when we get genuine invites. Now, how do you know if it's genuine? Well, if you're in the College Soccer Guy program and you call me, then I can help you do that. I can help you decide whether it's genuine. Otherwise, the main examples kind of look like this. Dear coach, or excuse me, the response you would have received from them will say something like, Johnny, thank you so much. We looked at your highlight video. We like a lot of your attributes. What does your schedule look like this summer? Also, here's our ID camp if you would like to attend. So this is what we call genuine. Okay, they looked at your video. They want to know more about your schedule and their ID camp. Now you're like, well, why should I go to their ID camp? They just want money for that. This is what I'm trying to stress and tell you. Look, if you can be seen at 10 showcases, which in a separate video you saw how many showcases you have in your life, not 10, then great, you can go get recruited. But most of the time, college coaches, there's so many kids Coaches have about 100 kids on the top of their list, and they're going to shrink that down to 4. There's another 1,000 that have just emailed them, which could be one of you. How are you going to differentiate yourself? And one of the ways to do that, to be honest, is through ID camps. So what you're going to do then, you're going to go to ID camp month section of your document, chapter 6, and you're going to write down the camp date, and you're going to write down the fact that it was genuine. By writing it was genuine, you now can outweigh that one versus another ID camp you were invited to. And you may still decide to go to the generic ID camp one, which is not a bad thing at all. But then you can at least know, hey, I'm going there cold to try and make an impression. Where this coach is going, look, I've seen your video. I like you. I need to see more of you. I can't make you an offer on a highlight video, which is very rare unless it's a low-level NAI or D3 school or JUCO. Most of the time, they have to see you in person. So how does that happen? ID camp showcase. And if you're not playing ESNL or MLS Next, then you're not going to the top level showcases, so then you have to go to ID camps. Okay, now those are genuine and a generic response. The other one you might get, which is genuine, is the budget. They may say to you, thank you so much for your information. We really liked what we saw. Can we please look at your budget? Or what, they'll ask you directly, what is your budget? And if you email George Washington, they do a generic email with a little bit of genuine in it, where it literally says at the end of every email, if you ever send and you get an email back from George Washington, I can almost guarantee you 99%, the end of that email is going to say, how do you plan to pay for GW? Because they know it's a very expensive school, and they want to cancel out any kids that can't afford it. And they also have a limited amount of academic and athletic scholarship that the school will provide. So they're like, look, we're not going to talk to any kids unless we know they can at least afford our school. So similarly, you have to think about your budget. So when a coach asks you about your budget, there's a couple things that really means, and this makes it a little bit complicated, which is why if you can call me, I can help you a little bit more. When they ask you, what is your budget? First thing you want to do is you need to talk to your family, and you need to address what is the budget. You know, how much is it that your family can afford to pay for college? If you're concerned about what you can or cannot pay for college, odds are you are going to have to, sorry guys, gotta pause.